Hello everyone, this is Marcia and I felt called to do another collective reading today. And as you can see, we have a figure or person, male and female body shape. I felt called to reach in to see about some physical healing collectively. As always, anytime you run across this reading, this message is exactly for you. And ready for you to be aware of it. I thought we were going to do stones, but I feel the call to go ahead and grab the watercolors. So let's see where that energy flow is physically and see what choice points you have in getting that flow moving in a healthy direction. For those of you who haven't run across me before, this is Marcia, and I work with two crows on the line. That is myself and my lovely daughter, Bryn. We do conscious integration as well as sessions for people who are looking for transformation and understanding. It's always a guidance for where you're at and where you want to be. I myself work with energy readings, which is what we're doing here today. Slightly different than what some of the times we have done in the past, but that is what we flow with. If you've not worked with color before, all color is good color. And what we want to look for are areas where that color has become muddied. For when we have muddied color, that is where we tend to have blockages, that the energy is not flowing in a healthy manner. And we have the opportunity now that we've seen it to be able to make conscious choices and change that for your healing and benefit. Sometimes just becoming aware of where your energy is flowing is enough to make those changes. Other times we need to tap in a little deeper and see what is actually underlying that. Where is that stemming from? And is it emotional? Is it physical? Is it spiritual? Is it mental? Is it a mix? That way, then we can decide how we want to address that, if we want to address that. Because remember, we have choice in all things. All right, just a little bit more here coming in. Looks like we do have some manifestation out there. Just checking to see if anything else wants to come in real quick. All right, here we go. Hopefully you can see that nice and clear. All right, what is it showing us? Well, we're going to start right here in this throat area. That is where we definitely have some muddiness going on. And that is our throat chakra, which is all about communication. I hear some people swallowing, right? And so instead of voicing your truth or your opinion or your feelings or emotion, you are locking down that voice and not letting it out. I hear others wanting to expound on truth. And I'm hearing it two ways. I'm hearing that some of us are holding back our truth because of how others may perceive us, or we may be perceived in general society. Maybe thinking you're lacking in education with what you're speaking on. Accreditation maybe. And remember, your truth is your truth, and expressing that in what you believe is never wrong. But also then being open to learning and seeing everyone's perspective is what helps us grow as a collective. The other part I hear on that is, all right, are you spouting your truths? And I'm using quotations as I say that, but are they still your truths? So come down here to our foundation, which there's a little muddiness going on. So going back to your roots, spending some time meditating or just contemplating, even kind of writing out, what are your fundamental truths that you believe in? So those might be morals or values you grew up with from childhood. They may be social parameters that are being touted that you think that you need to follow along with to be accepted as part as the world and social. So take time as you write those out, then look at them, or if you think about those, look at them and sit with them. Are they actually your truths? Just because the media says something doesn't mean that it's true. Just because that's what we grew up with hearing doesn't mean that those are our truths now where we're at in this moment of time. So going and getting clarification on that, I think will open up. So then you are expressing your truths as they are now in your life in this moment of time. That will clear up this muddiness that we have for some. We are grounded. We see the earth tones here in the brown, the red and black, I believe in duality. There is always a balancing color in chakras and every aspect of our life. So when we have black and we have red in our root, that is when we are well balanced, right? We have the masculine and feminine in all things, and they are in balance. That doesn't mean that they are stagnant, right? There is always shifting in balance. So as we grow, as we experience, as we have those shifts, and those are balancing out. So that we are approaching things and interacting things from a healthy space. And then in here we have the purple, which is that spiritual color, right? That's our connection to our higher self. That is connection to the creator and all that is. That is our spiritual beliefs and how we walk spiritually within this world, coming up from our truth, from our foundations in what we believe. So that's where that's kind of becoming line up, and we have this green, and it looks kind of like a snake head almost on both ends. So that Kundalini energy, right, unfurling and coming up, it is us becoming in alignment with our truth, with what we believe to actually be. And you can see we are here, and then we cut over, right? So we're going around that voicing of our truths. So take a moment and reflect on that. Up here we have gray here in the third eye chakra, right? And usually that's represented with a blue or an indigo in that connection. We have the gray. I don't feel blockage. What I feel is that as a collective, many of us are looking for how we are spiritually connected, what our spiritual path is, how we perceive, right? Because that's a lot of times in that pineal gland, when we are psychic abilities coming online or in tuning with that. And we usually tend to see that in the purples or the indigos. But if you're not sure of what your spiritual path is, or you haven't had much of one, or there is a change going on, we now have kind of a gray area. And I don't want to say that it's fog, but it's waiting for enlightenment. It's looking for a different path. It's looking for a different way, maybe the same belief, but expressing and perceiving them slightly differently. So this is a conscious seeking for a spiritual connection. We have two hand positions here. So one is green, one is orange. One is orange in manifestation, one is green within healing. And it's also a type of manifestation as it is new growth. Right here on that would be the right hip going forward, we have red. So talk about those foundation, right? And I do hear some people having a little, and I'm going to call it growing pains. We walk with our step forward from our right foot. Most of us lead with our right foot. I lead with my left foot, so everyone is slightly different. But are you walking the path you truly want to walk? Are you walking a path that's filled with passion? Are you doing the things you are passionate about? Your work, your social life, your goals in life, making sure that those are actually in a line with your truths, your foundations, and actually what you want to manifest in your world. So just hey, there is flow there, and it is wanting us to move towards what we are actually impassioned to do in service while we are here in this physical plane. All right, and then from this direction, that is moving to the east. So I think it's mirrored on my camera right now. And that is putting that from what our foundations are up into what we're passionate about, and then bringing them forth into manifestation. That is that green and yellow. So that's receiving enlightenment, and it's also putting it out there. We do have an orange and purple imbalance here. So in what we want to manifest, make sure that that is aligning with our spiritual beliefs and how we want to walk this earth. All right, I hope you found this intriguing, enlightenment. Some areas to look at, because all of these are choice points, right? Do you want to speak your truths, or do you want to hold them back? Do you want to look for new spiritual connection and connection with the creator and higher self? Or do you want to stay on that physical plane and only experiencing in the physical realm where you currently are at? Do you like the flow that you are in now, or do you alignment with who you actually are and who you want to be? All right, have a fantastic time, and I will see you next time.